Hey y'all, and thank you for stopping in for another episode of Love Dripping from the Walls. My name is Elizabeth Cunningham, and I am your host. This is the last episode of season 2. This season has been all about self love, and this episode is no different. So today we have on Tiffany Go. She is a financial advisor who has been in the financial services industry since 1990. She has helped many of her clients through some difficult times while working on their financial goals. But the reason that she is on this podcast today is because she wrote a book that is now on one of Amazon's top sellers. It is You Are Perfectly Flawed and Rarer Than a Diamond, where Tiffany talks about her struggles in her life to have self love. But more importantly, the thing that I love about Tiffany and the thing that we're going to talk about on this episode today is not about overcoming your struggles, although that is definitely part of it. Part of it is overcoming your struggles. But the other part of self love is continuing to move forward on your journey of self-love. Great. Now you've discovered that you are perfectly flawed and rarer than a diamond. So what are you doing now to live that life and move forward? This episode is not about self-love and completing the past. This is an episode about self-love and moving powerfully forward and creating the amazing future that you want to create for your life. So I'm excited to present this episode to you, and I hope that you enjoy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I am so excited to chat with you today and have you be on the podcast. And my intention for this podcast call is really for you to share your story. And inside of sharing your story of, your journey, your own journey of self-love, but also your inspiration to share that with others as well, because I think that it's really I think that your own journey is really inspiring, and I also think that it's really inspiring that you want so badly to share that with others. You want so badly to share it with others that you wrote a book.
I know, that's crazy.
So I love it. And so I would love to just start with, who is Tiffany? How I know you as, a financial advisor, but what else? What else is there to know about you as a person? Like when you meet people, what is the thing where you're just like, you need to know this about me? Here, hi, my name's Tiffany. You need to know this about me.
Oh, you want to go down that dark alley? Okay, I can do it.
Yeah. What are your intentions for this podcast?
I just really want to change the world as much as I can. I love the fact that you got me on here because I think somebody, maybe several somebodies, will need to hear what I say. And hopefully that will help them. There's a lot of people that are in really dark spaces right now. And I see it so much when I go out in public, and it just breaks my heart. Well, they've just given up on so many levels,
Mm-hmm.
Really sad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what had you so let's talk about your journey. And I'll have an official intro. I'll add an official intro later.
Sure.
So we're just gonna talk.
Which part of my journey you want me to talk?
Well, what are some I know in your book that there's some defining moments for you of what had you have the self-discoveries that you've had to be the, bright and shining person that you are. And so what are some of those, maybe one or two of those self-discovery moments on your journey that were so defining for you? And what did you learn?
A lot of good stuff. There's so many things that are coming into my head right now. Whew. Some of those really hard journeys were really tough ones of life. Being told I wasn't enough, wasn't smart enough, wasn't pretty enough, wasn't thin enough.
Mhm.
So many not cool things that people did to me in my life, and the beautiful things of how I was raised too, that there are as good people out there in the world, and there are people that really do want to love you and take good care of you and be good to you. But there's so many people that have so many ulterior motives, and they want to tear you down to lift themselves up. And I think, one of the things that sticks to my head and why it was so hard and it was so hard to hear was when I was younger and going through I have dyslexia, and I didn't find out until I was in high school. And that's what I just learned differently than other people. And when I was told that why was I wasting the teacher's time because I should have been barefoot and pregnant, and that's what women were supposed to do. And I was like, that's just not right. And I think a lot of times people are in power say things like that to people. And that's why I think a lot of us have been told things like that in our past where we're not good enough, smart enough, whatever. And a lot of people just stop when they hear those things. And I don't know, there was just something within me through everything in my life that made me say, I got to push through that. And I got to be more than that. And God didn't make me to be less. Okay. And I don't know. It's just something that came within me, and my belief of that we're all just amazing, rare people in our life.
Yeah. Well, I hear that. I hear the just that inner strength. I mean, I think some people call it inner strength, and I sometimes refer to it as your inner voice or your will or determination, no, or even like your intuition, like just the knowing, like the knowing that you are bigger than what people say that you are. People try to make you small and try to, put you in a box, or like the barefoot and pregnant thing, right? And as a woman, I definitely have had those conversations with people, or not that's not even a conversation, but like, someone tells you like, this is how you should be, this is how women are, this is how women should be, this is how you should be, anyway, just the whatever people think you should be, and to
Mhm.
be able to listen to your own inner voice that says that's not true about me, and to not only listen to your inner voice, but to have the audacity, the boldness, the courage to act beyond that is really something. It's something special. And I think that we all have that. And I think that that's something that you really hark on in your book, is that we really do all have that. And so how do you characterize it in your book? Like what is so the book is, and I read your book, it's so great. Okay, so the book is You Are Perfectly Flawed and Rarer Than Any Diamond. And so what's your main message of your book?
So it's really about loving who you are, finding your fight, it's just being relentless. It's that, and that's part of what you were talking about, is the inner whatever, is that whole being relentless. And I think for me, there were so many things in my life that happened that I literally should have died. And that's part of the being the relentless, finding my fight thing that kept me going. But it's really about loving who we are with the flaws that we have, and loving everything about us, even with those flaws, because a lot of times people don't really relate to the whole, they're that rare, they're that special. But you can look at one of the most valuable diamonds in the world, it's got flaws. It's going for multi millions of dollars. Okay. Multi millions. There's only one of you.
Mhm.
You are worth way more than multi-millions of dollars. Think about that for a second. Whew, right? But the problem is we don't treat ourselves as multi-million dollars.
Mhm.
We say horrible things to ourselves sometimes. What people say to us is another thing. What we say in here a lot of the times is the worst. You
Mm.
would never say that to anybody else.
Mhm.
Why do you say it to yourself? Why do we all say it to ourselves? That
Mhm.
inner self-talk is so deep. And I talk about in my book about how, you know, if we think, I think about every person about being like a raw diamond when they're born. Babies aren't cute. I'm not going to lie. When babies come out, they are not cute. They're kind of funky. They got a weird I know moms are going to hate me for this one, but oh well.
Except for my mom. My mom's gonna love you. My mom's like, no one thinks babies are cute. Everyone lies to moms. Everyone lies to moms and says that their babies are cute, and they're not.
They're not. Okay. And I think there's something that happens in the birthing process that the moms just have that instant love for them. And I think it's great. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like if you ever look at a raw diamond, they're really ugly too. They're funky, they're shaped weird. They've got like, graying spots. They're, little, you can see little flecks in them, whatever. And if you look at them, they look like, whatever, right? And
Mhm.
I love rocks, don't get me wrong. But the very first time I saw a raw diamond, I was like, that's a diamond? Can I have the cut and pretty shiny one, please? So, and I did some lapidary work when I was in college, and I loved that. It was so much fun. But the part is that why I say that is we're like that raw diamond when we're born, funky shaped, weird little spots, all that kind of stuff. But everything in our life basically is faceted and cut into different spots. There's good cuts and there's bad cuts. There's getting married, there's getting divorced, there's having babies, losing a loved one, all those kind of things that happen, right? There's all the health issues that happen. Those are all facets. And what it's doing is it's cutting part of your diamond away so we can get to the inner beauty of it and the shine. And for me, a lot of people, they get into one area of their life that they're so unhappy with in their past, and they won't let their past stay in the past. So what happens is that diamond keeps cutting that part away, keep cutting that part away, right and over, whatever. And then what happens is the diamond shape changes and becomes unbalanced, and it can no longer be that shape.
Mhm.
Instead of letting it go and going with the cuts, going with the facts.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I think, the past is the past for a reason. I got some flack from some people by not sharing everything from my past in my book. And the reason I didn't is I didn't want to give life to those things anymore. There was too much of my life that they took from me. So to bring those bad things back and put them out on paper for people to read, I didn't want to do that to anybody else. They don't need to go through my crap. I don't want to go through that crap anymore. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think what I believe is really honestly when it's all said and done, everything that happens in our life that's supposed to happen, our diamond is now created into this beautiful shape. It's still going to have some flaws. We won't see it by the naked eye anymore. But again, we're so rare and we're so precious. And the thing is, all of us diamonds are used to cut other things. There's industrial bits that are made with diamonds, and diamonds cut other diamonds. So we have to be careful with our words too.
Mm. Yeah, that's really beautiful and that's really powerful that I think one thing that we get stuck on, as you said, is our past, and that sometimes we share those stories over and over and over and over again. And sometimes it's great. Like sometimes, there's people that give TED Talks, there's people that talk around the world and they share their story, right? They share what happened to them in order to be inspiring, to other people, right? So it's there, I think there is a time and a place to share your story, and the day to day or as lived, sharing those stories over and over and over again. You're right, it breathes life into those stories instead of breathing life into now, or
Your
breathing life
future.
into your future. Yeah, what you're creating. And I think that's a really powerful insight about how your words are so powerful, and the attention that you give things and the energy that you give things by the words that you use is
Yeah.
really powerful. And the other thing that I heard in what you said too is that if we're not learning from our past, like we can learn from the great things that happened in our past, and we can revel in the great things that happened in our past, absolutely. But if we're not learning from the harder experiences, or even traumatic or even terrifying experiences that we've had from the past, if we're not learning from that, if we're not moving on and creating from that, then I love that analogy of like your diamond just keeps getting cut, and then you're unbalanced. If you're not growing from what you've experienced, then you become unbalanced, and you become stuck.
Mhm.
Right? I kind of see, like, I have this vision of like a diamond that's been cut too much on one side, and so it like falls
Yeah.
over. It's
Totally true. And
yeah.
then, like, having learned a little bit about faceting, they literally have to take what's left of it and then try to find another shape out of that. And
Mhm.
those cuts can be even more painful as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But that's what people don't think about that. They don't think about, oh, we've got this lovely round brilliant. Guess what? Now you're going to be a pair because this whole section, or now you're going to be our marquee because, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's those things. And I tell people, and I tell people when I meet them a lot of time, do you want to be the woman that you were in your past? Or do you want to be the woman that's going places in your future?
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you love your past that much that you want to really go back and relive it?
Mhm.
Because some people maybe do. Some people don't want to, some people maybe don't like their current life. But instead of going to the past, why not build your future?
Yeah, I mean, the present and the future is the only thing that we have. The
Right?
past is the past. For,
Hmm.
there's not, and there isn't anything that we can do about that.
Yeah, I know. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, like even the beginning of this conversation is the past. Like
Hmm.
15 minutes ago is the past. 30 seconds ago is the
I
past.
know, right? So true.
Yeah, so what do you, and I know that you talk about this in your book, so what have you discovered for yourself that keeps you in the present and keeps you creating for the future?
So for me, it's really about, really focusing on what I want to create, because I say this in my book is we all have something deep within us that only we can do. And if we don't do it, it dies with us.
Mm,
And that to me, and that's one of the reasons when I finally decided to do it, it was like I was like on this crazy mission to write this and get it done as quickly as possible, because having had so many near death experiences in my life, and one that was, I mean, there were some other ones that were bad too, but one that was really crazy. And I just was like, what if I'm committing this to paper and I die in the middle of committing this to paper?
mm,
And it hit me really hard one day. And it was just like, I just had to keep moving things so I could get it done, because we don't know when our expiration date is. We don't. We have no idea, And I think it's really about changing the world with the time that you have, making sure you take care of yourself and your loved ones, because so many people, they'll take care of everybody else.
yeah,
But when it comes to themselves, there's no time.
yeah, yeah, beautiful.
And it's
Like,
really hard when I see that.
mhm. Yeah, like prioritizing, or just being able to prioritize like what is important, to you, because every single day of your life is is your life. Like a lot of us live in the world of, well, when I get this, when I make this amount of money, then I'll be able to. And I know that I've talked to you about this before, not on recording, which is
Right.
why I wanted to bring it up. And what we've talked about is like, oh, when I reach this weight, then I'll buy these clothes. Like that's the conversation that we've had. When I reach this weight, then I'll buy these clothes. I would love to hear you dive into like how, because you're so I love how you love just being you every day. Like I love how you love being you every day. So what are the things that you do every day that has you love being you every day?
So, I think it's really about truly like having good self-love relationships
Mhm.
with yourself. Yeah, and I hear from people all the time, "Oh, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna buy that or whatever, blah blah blah." I really, really truly believe this is the body I have right now. Is
Mhm.
it perfect? No. Is it a size whatever? No. Whatever. I don't want to go there. But at the same time, I mean, I hear people all the time, "Oh, I'm just going to live in this and this until I lose the weight." And that's what I hear from people, or especially right now in COVID time, people are like, "I'm just wearing jammies all the time," right? Or "I'm just wearing this, I'm just wearing that," you know. And my thing is this is who we are right now. This is the body that we have. This is whatever we have right now. And I don't think you should wait to do all those things. I buy nice things now. I don't want to wait to have the perfect body to buy the pretty things. I believe in having nice things. I don't go crazy shopping, but I do like to have some pretty things.
Mhm.
And I think it's just really a matter of appreciating every bit that we have right now. I mean,
Mm.
I look at, I do rituals and look at loving my eyes, loving my hair, my smile, everything, all these
Mhm.
little rituals in my book, which you've read. And I think once you do that, you appreciate everything more. Like I have little things that I do, like, when I get up in the morning, hey, I may be 51 and my joints are starting to hurt, but I love my body because it takes me where I need to go.
Mm.
Right. And it may hurt at times, but it's okay. I can get around, right? I can walk, I can talk, I can do all these things that a lot of people challenge with, right?
Mhm.
And I can find pretty clothes my size, and I wear pretty shoes, and I mean there are people that I know that are literally showing up to work, or if they're working from home, in their jammies and their flip-flops.
Mhm.
My assistant laughs at me, whenever she sees me every day, if she comes in, she's like, "You're dressed so nice. Why?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"I dress nice for me. Okay?
Mhm.
If you get to enjoy it, you're even more blessed." But no, that's how I look at it, and I wear pretty shoes every day. It makes me happy. I
Mm.
wear lipstick every day, even if I've got to put one of these on. I've got lipstick on underneath my mask. I don't care. Even my husband gets mad at me every time he does the laundry. He goes, "Why do all your masks have lipstick on them?" They do,
Uh,
right? And life is too short not to, right? And then like somebody else said to me, "Well, why are you wearing lipstick if you're wearing a mask?" I said, "It's who I am. It's like wearing jewelry. I don't leave the house without at least earrings, you know."
yeah,
Hopefully,
and I
hopefully that answered what you wanted. I don't know.
yeah, no, it did because it what you said was because it makes you happy. And it's just like, and who, to anybody who's listening to this, like, if wearing, like, I worked in fitness for 6 years, and so I wore fitness stuff every single day pretty much for 6 years, and like that made me happy. Like it made me happy to buy cute fitness outfits, and I always came to the gym with like cute coordinated like fitness outfits.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and there's a guy that I in one of the gyms that I used to go to, and he commented on it. He's like, man, he's like, you're always looking fresh in the gym, like da da da. And I'm like, yeah, because I love to, and it wasn't the point being is that it's not for anyone else necessarily. It's because I love my life, I love myself. This is what makes me happy. This is what in the Marie Kondo way, this is what sparks joy in my
Right?
heart. And so this is what I'm going to do. And actually I had a conversation with my partner about this recently because I had this thought of like, I love popcorn. Popcorn is one of my favorite snacks of all time. I love popcorn. And we were at the store and they were like, "Oh, we need to buy popcorn. You're out of popcorn." And I was like, I feel like I've been eating too much popcorn lately." And they were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, like, I just want to make sure that I'm like being healthy and da 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 and like all this stuff. Like, and I have all of these health rituals, right? Like I told you, I worked in health and fitness for 6 years. And I have like all these health rituals, and they're like, "Elizabeth, like you're like, does eating popcorn like add to the value of your life? Does it make you happy?" And I was like, "Yeah, it really does." And they're like, "So buy the goddamn popcorn."
Amen, sister. Amen. Hell yeah. Well, and it's crazy because, like, literally, I'm literally having to have some of my favorite shoes having new heels put on them because I've been wearing them all through COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. And my shoe guy was like, I haven't seen a pair of heels in so long
Uh-huh.
because nobody's bringing. He goes, I see, like, people wanting their tennis shoes resold or want this resold or whatever. He goes, I haven't seen heels to be resold in months.
Right.
I'm like, he goes, where are you going? I said, to my office, to the grocery store. I don't care. I wear my heels where I want to wear them.
Yeah.
Hell, actually, I went to Metropolitan Market in a very fancy gown with chandelier earrings and jewelry and a mask and heels, and I strutted myself up and down those aisles. All to buy me some cat food for my kitty. And that was the only thing I did. And I walked up and down the aisles to see if anybody would look and communicate with me at all.
I love that.
I'm a weirdo. If you saw me at the Met Market, that was me. I joke about it. It's the Met Gala at the Met Market. Boom.
I love it. No, but really, like, whatever, and that's the thing is just like whatever brings joy to your day. Like, if bringing joy to your day and like having you feel like so like sexy and seen and just like empowered and
Oh,
like yes, like snaps like a fucking queen, then do that, right? Like do that. Whatever that is, do that thing. And if it's
you
wearing,
don't?
yeah,
Why?
yeah, like, and again, like life's too short. So I love, okay, so one of the things that I really loved in your book was the gratitude. Like, what are you grateful for? And I have my own gratitude practice, but I want to talk about that. Like, I want to talk about being grateful and like what does, because I think this is something that like gets brought up a lot is like, what are you grateful for? Like having gratitude or practicing gratitude. So, what does that look like for you? And what do you see that like, what do you see gratitude like as an access to? Like, how does it impact you to have a gratitude practice for yourself? And why do you tell other people to do that?
I think for me the gratitude is really about being thankful for what we have now. And
Mm,
once you are thankful for what we have now, it opens up for other things to bring into your life too.
mm,
And I think, like I was saying, I'm grateful for, like I said, my body when I get up in the morning, even though it hurts.
mhm.
I'm still very grateful that I'm up and walking around and doing all those things and just little things. Or I'm grateful for, having food to eat. I'm grateful for so many things. There are other people that are not as in good situations as us. And I think really even the crap that happens in our life, there's a lot of gratitude that has to happen with it too, because those are lessons that are coming that we may not understand at the time. And there's a lot of forgiveness and gratitude that goes hand in hand together in
Mm.
my world. Is, I had to forgive a lot of things that did happen, but I also had to be grateful for the things that happened because they made me appreciate other things. So I think really gratitude, when you are grateful for what you have, there's so much more given to you. Like, what is that old adage of too much is given, much is oh my gosh, I cannot believe that. Much is required. Too much is given, much is required. So I am grateful for the gifts that I've been given. And I also, because of the gifts I've been given, do my best to give as much as I can as well. So I really think that the gifts that I've been given, and I try to give gifts because of those. And I'm not talking physical gifts, I'm talking the gifts of joy, the gifts of laughter, the gifts of warmth, the gifts of love. They're not like people, when I say gifts, they always think like monetary gifts, but we have been given so many gifts besides monetary gifts.
Mm.
And we don't always think about and the gratefulness of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And that having gratitude allows for, I'm not going to say it the exact way that you said it, but like having
You can quote me, girl. Go for it.
We'll have so many good quotes from this podcast.
I love it when people quote me back to me. It makes me feel so fabulous.
Well,
It's true. I was somewhere and somebody quoted me back to me, and I went, that's the first time I've ever had anybody do that. Because I am a huge fan of quotes. I have a book of quotes that I just keep every time I find a quote that I like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got quoted back to me. Like, I have arrived. Oh, like the heavens were singing. Oh, it was so funny. I know I'm a big silly word, whatever.
I love it. But you have like that's the other thing, is that you can really have gratitude for so many things, like gratitude for someone quoting you, and the joy that brings you.
I had one lady say I owed her a highlighter because she was highlighting my book so much her highlighter ran out. And I said, I will send you a highlighter. She goes, I wore out a highlighter on your book because she kept underlining everything with her highlighter. And she's like, yeah, and this was good and that was good. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. So.
How precious is that? Oh, I love that. And that, I mean, and that's the thing, is like just taking this out into other people, is that, when you do something that, contributes to other people, the level of joy and happiness, for it's a gift to, like, contributing to other people is also a gift for yourself,
So
and
true.
having people receive that gift, even if it's only a handful of people, which your book has touched more than a handful of people, which is awesome. But even if it were just a handful of people, that it would still be such a gift for you,
Yeah.
that you could have contributed that to people as well. Oh, I love that, because like that's my thing about gratitude, is that it's a never ending circle and cycle. Like, it's not just gratitude is not just transactional. It's not just, I give you gratitude, you may or may not give me gratitude back. It's like, no, like gratitude exists on so many planes. It's like being grateful for yourself then allows you to give gratitude to others. When you give gratitude to others, then they feel contributed to, and then you feel gratitude again. It's just like this never ending shower, and
It's
it
beautiful.
builds on itself. Yeah, it is. It's so beautiful. Oh,
It is. And it's so funny when you're talking about that. I was like, so when I was talking to my CPA before I finished, I mean, I'd written my book and I was talking to him about some stuff. And he goes, well, you'll at least sell this many copies because you know that many people. I said, I'm not trying to make a huge profit from it. This is not what it's about. This is about changing lives. And he made some weird comment about it. And I was like, people, when you write a book, you are sharing your soul with people.
mm-hmm.
And I look at it this way, it was a huge labor of love to do it. It was not easy for me being dyslexic and everything and the challenges of it. And it's, a lot of time and having my firm, read every single word and get the okay, and just the stress of waiting to hear back of that. I mean, just crazy stuff, right? So it was kind of funny, when I set out to do this is just like I just wanted to be a bestseller to change as many lives as I could, because I know I'm grateful because I have been given more time on the clock by God, is what I really truly believe.
Mhm.
And so it's cool because like on the 5th of October, a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
this baby
Yeah.
made Amazon #3 bestseller in the self-esteem, self-help section.
What? Did it really? Oh my
Oh,
god, I didn't know that. Wow, that's
I
amazing.
couldn't believe it. I was like, seriously? And I just was like, did I read that right? Yes, I did. And I'm like, because I launched this on May 18th. And so we're talking May 18th through October 5th,
Yeah.
#3 on Amazon in that category.
In that category, yeah. Oh my gosh, congratulations. That is a
Mhm.
big deal.
It's a huge deal. I can't believe I'm in like the top 3 on Amazon in this category. What? And I was like, boom, CPA. Mm.
Oh,
He
that's
told me, he goes, you'll sell about 15 copies.
oh no. Well, and that's the other thing too, is that comes up in our conversations, is that you can't always listen to what other people have to say. Like, you really have to trust yourself. So, next topic, trust and trusting yourself. What advice would you give someone who has a difficult time trusting themselves?
I would say the biggest thing is your gut. Your brain will overthink everything,
Mhm.
okay? But your gut check in really will tell you where you're at. Because here's the thing, like in my business, I'm a wealth manager, for a living. I set a lot of goals. I'm always setting the goals. I'm reverse engineering the goals. I'm doing all these things. I'm doing that with my clients and their goals. So
Mhm.
I'm looking at the big picture. And I tell people all the time, when you set a goal, it's scary. Okay. If it's the right goal, it's supposed to be scary. If it's not scary, it's not a big enough goal. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not joking. It's true.
Uh-huh.
So the thing is it's not for your mind to figure out how to get it done.
Mm.
It's once you trust your gut and your instinct, and I really believe, whether it be God or the universe, once you put it out there, it'll work.
Mm.
Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but it does happen. But the main thing is, if you let your brain try to figure it out, it'll say it can't be done. No,
Mhm.
nobody ever did that. No, it can't. And it's funny because I wrote, every year I pick a word, and this is not in my book, but every year I pick a word for the year. So 2019 was really a rough year for a lot of people. I'm not gonna lie, it was a rough year for people, and that was a rough one for me. I had some stuff that going on and everything. So I picked the year 2020 was going to be my year of miracles.
Wow.
So hence, are we living in miracle time? Most people would say, hell no. We are living in crazy COVID time, right?
Mhm.
And here's the thing. When I set that out there and I set all these goals, I was like, I remember thinking, I set all these goals before 2020, and COVID happened and everything else happened. And I'm just going, I'm not going to be able to hit these. That's where my mind started taking over.
Yeah.
But my gut kept saying, keep going, keep your head down and go with your gut. So
Mhm.
that's what I would say to anybody trying to figure it out and trying to battle
Mhm.
is find your truth and go with your gut. And if you find that you're going down a path and your gut is telling you something's not right, listen to that before you listen to your head.
Mm. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, you're spot on because as soon as as soon as you declare something exactly what you said, as soon as you declare something scary like a goal, that your brain is going to freak out. But
Just
your
gonna say nope.
but your gut, like if it is truly aligned with you and who you are and your purpose and why you're here, like your gut will be like, you got this. Like get it, just go for it.
And
Right?
that's what happened with me with my book. Like when I first told people that I was going to write a book, they were like this.
Yeah.
Next, right?
Like,
And
okay,
I,
that's nice.
yeah, that's nice. Okay, sure, sure. She's going to write a book, right? She's going to run a successful business and write a book. No. And I would meet people later, and it was funny. I This one gal that I know, she said to me, she goes, "I remember the very first time we talked, and you told me you were writing a book." I was like, "Yeah, sure, she's writing a book. Everybody's writing a book, right? Whatever." And then she saw my post on Facebook. She goes, "Oh my God, you actually did it!" And she couldn't believe it. And I was just like, I said, "Yeah, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm
Mm.
a woman of my truth and my word." And it was funny because, like, for the longest time before I actually sat down to write this book, it was like God would kept going, "Come on, get it out there, get it out there." And I was just like, I was scared, and that was the scared part. Like,
Mhm.
and once I finally committed to it, there was nerves, but my gut knew it was right. And I felt, like I said, it was such an urgency that came at it, and it just flowed out of me so fast
Mhm.
because I technically probably been writing the book for years in my head. And it was like, there you go. And it's just funny. But yeah, people were, "Yeah, sure, she's writing a book." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that so many people have I mean, a lot of the world is filled with empty promises,
So
which
true.
is why people have that like people's reaction have nothing to do with you, right? Like that's the other part of trust is that, you have to trust yourself enough to not look into people's reactions too much, you
Mhm.
know? Like, of course, there's going to be people who can give you great advice or coaching or whatever, but you have to trust you at the end of the day. And most of the time, people's reactions have nothing to do with you. Like the people who doubted that you would write a book, that's not their reaction to
Mhm.
you. That's their reaction to, like, oh, most people, when they say that they're going to do something, don't do it.
Mhm.
Like most people don't. And
No.
so it's surprising and refreshing to find someone who says what they're going to do and then does that thing. And I think the other part of that that's so key and important, especially in like listening to your gut, is that flow. You were talking about the flow of just like as soon as you started going that it just like came out of you. And I think that's important as well, is that when you're listening to your gut, again, listening to your gut, standing in your truth, acting inside of your purpose, acting in alignment with, your higher self or whatever that is for you, that it's easy.
Mhm.
Like it is easy and it has that flow, and that if there's any resistance there, like my inquiry for people is like, if you're so resistant to something, is it because your gut says yes and your brain says no and you're in a battle with that? Or is it because your brain says yes and your gut says no and you just shouldn't do it, right?
Exactly. And it's kind of like you with the love dripping from the walls, right?
Yeah.
You know, when people say, I hear people say, "Oh, I love my husband." That's not love dripping from,
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah.
right? Or I love my partner,
Yes. Yeah.
right? There is so much truth that comes out where it's just like the visual of the love dripping from the walls. And it's just such a visual. And that's the whole, your gut. It's got to be just all in, buy in, full on commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want us all to be, loving each other, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And loving ourselves
Mm.
first like that. I want us all to love drip the wall on ourselves, right?
Totally. Yes.
Right? You get it. I know you get it. But but so many people don't. And it just and it I remember one woman saying to me, she goes, you just like look like you have it all together,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I love me. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm sorry that you don't love you. Why don't you love you? I don't get why you don't love you. I just don't. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Well, and that's
And
why
I just love people. I mean, and I was saying like earlier on a Zoom earlier today, I said, you're gonna, I'll be the one that you see on TV, got arrested from hugging strangers, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in like the icky way. Let me preface that, but there are so many people that are just so starved for love in just the hug. Even, I mean, it's weird to say that, but it's true. And it was funny. My assistant, who's going through some hard things with her family and stuff, and she comes in the office, but I have my office and she has got her outside thing, and she's, we kind of social distance and everything. And so I came out of my office the other day. I had my mask on. She's like, "Why do you got your mask on?" I said, "You're putting your mask on too." She goes, "Why?" I said, "Put your mask on. I told you to put your mask on." And so she put her mask on. I said, "I'm gonna give you a hug."
Mhm.
And she leaned into me and hugged me really like, and I said, "You let me know when you are okay. I'm not going to force you to stay any longer." But she, I had talked to her about some stuff, and she goes, "I just don't feel close to anybody right now." And it broke my heart to hear that. I'm
Mhm.
like, "I'm going to hug you. I'm going to have my mask on. You're going to have your mask on." And I'm like, I just want to go out and hug people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm really glad that you had that. I mean, it's so important. It's so important to feel that support because as much as, we're talking in this episode about how it really all starts with you. It really all starts with you loving yourself. It starts with you being grateful for yourself. It starts with you trusting yourself. Like it really does all start with you. And we are social creatures and we need each other. Like
Mhm.
and that's why we need to love ourselves. Like you need to love yourself because we need each other.
Yeah.
Not like it's, I mean, you need you, but also, your spouse needs you to love yourself because they need your love. And if you're not loving yourself, you can't fully be there for them. Your assistant needs you. Your assistant needs that love and support from you, and that your cup is so full that you can overflow it onto her is such a gift. And people need that. People need that. And you can't give it in such an abundant way if you don't start with you. And it goes back to what we said at the very beginning of this conversation is that people just give and give and give and give and give. And they're doing it out of all of, out of great, great reasons. They love people. They love people. They want to contribute to people. They want people to be safe and supported and cared for, but they can't give as much as they could if they started with themselves. And again, like that's why I just love your book and I love what you stand for. And I wanted to have you on this podcast for.
Thank
That's
you.
in a nutshell, all of it. That's why.
Well, and I love you too.
Ah,
And as soon as I can hug you, I will hug you.
oh my gosh, as soon as COVID is over, I'm gonna be like, Tiffany, where's your office? I'm coming
I
over
know.
right now.
Yeah. I told a few people, I said, "You're going to have to tap out. It might get a little uncomfortable." I'm like, hugging you. And it's so cute because the people that really love me, they're like, "No, honey, I'm leaning right into you and we're going to hug for a long time." I said, "Y'all
And
my
that's
people."
Yes, I have a friend of mine, and we have this joke that we hug so intimately that we make people uncomfortable, which is true, by the way.
I
We ha
love it.
Because we just hold on to each other. We literally hold on to each other until, like, we're both full, you know? Like, we hug until we're full, and then we let go. And
And it's
sometimes that's, a couple minutes.
well, and it's funny, not funny, haha, but it's sad in our culture here in the United States that a lot of people do think it's uncomfortable and weird, right? But there are cultures where women will walk down the street hand in hand, and they're just the best of friends. It's not their partner. They're both married or whatever, whatever, and that's just or they'll walk down the street arm in arm or whatever. It's not like like I saw this one guy go, oh, oh, check that out, right? And I'm like, whatever, right? It's just weird that we are so like, oh my god, everybody takes it the wrong way. They take it to the icky way. Like that's why I said I'm gonna hug you uncomfortably, but not to the icky point, but just to the point of like, maybe this a little longer, but with not being able to give people a hug. Like I had one older gentleman come to my office and he wanted to come in, and I said I can't let you in. And I said, if and so I put my hand on the glass of my wall in my window, and then he put his hand on the other side of the glass. I said, this is the closest we can be right now,
Mm,
but know that there's love here.
mm,
And we just kind of, did this for a little bit, and then we both pulled it down eventually
mm.
because our older generation are really struggling right now,
Yeah.
and our single friends are not doing well. I've got clients in you know retirement houses where they're not let them out. They can't even see their family. It's just the world is so upside down right now. And love has got to drip from the walls. It's got to come from the ceiling even. Damn, girl. Damn, girl.
Yep, that's there you go, that's my mission, that's what I'm up to,
Yeah.
and you're right, that is what we need, and that's so beautifully said, and it's being able to put things into perspective,
Yeah.
just like we need each other.
Yeah. And we don't know how long we have on this earth. And
Mhm.
that's why back to the whole like people waiting until this happens or waiting until they have this weight or waiting until they have this much money. Stop waiting.
Mm, mhm.
Do it now.
Yeah, yep, absolutely, and that is you're the queen of diamonds, Tiffany.
Thanks, darling. Thank you. They're not all real, but hey, nothing wrong with that.
And I just can't think of any better place or way to wrap this conversation up. So that was just beautiful. Thank you so much for being on Love Dripping from the Walls. Thank you for embodying love dripping. You didn't even know that you were embodying love dripping from the walls. And then I came along and I was like, guess what you're embodying? Love dripping from the walls. That's exactly what you're doing. And so thank you for being my partner in just having people love on themselves and love on others. Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. Thank
Yeah,
you for having me. It's
you're
awesome.
welcome. And for anybody who wants to buy the book, I'm going to put the link in the show notes so you'll be able to just click right on down there and do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for listening to this last episode of season 2, the season of self love. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for your overwhelming and amazing support of this podcast. I love you all so much. It warms my heart and it humbles me completely that people want to listen and talk about love and just generally want to make the world a better place for all of us. So thank you so, so much for your support. With that being said, we finally have merch. We have merch for the podcast. The link to our merch is going to be in the show notes. So scroll down to the show notes if you want your Love Dripping from the Walls t-shirts, sweatshirts. We got some hats. We got some beanies. It's going to be awesome. So if that's your jam, go ahead and scroll down. Thank you all so much, and sending you all the love. Keep listening and keep loving.